What is going on with the Philadelphia 76ers? The answer to that, a lot. We're going to uncover it here on today's 76ers Now. Both Joel Embiid and Paul George will miss Wednesday's game against Detroit. Nick Nurse doesn't seem to be happy about that. And also, the Sixers got some wild breaking news. Are the Sixers lying about Joel Embiid? Because the NBA fined Philadelphia $100,000 for, quote, public statements around the health status of All-NBA center Joel Embiid. Is he actually dealing with an injury? It looks as though the Sixers have been lying about that. It's all coming up. First, are you frustrated? I'm frustrated. Producer Chip is. Nick Nurse clearly is after he just held a weird press conference. If you just want to see Joel Embiid and Paul George on the court, hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. And with that, let's start the show. So there's certainly a lot to get to, and we're going to go through it all and really, hopefully, cause or at least solve some of the concerns and some of the worries and some of the confusion that you have. Even I'm kind of confused with what's going on. My goodness, there is always drama around this basketball team. It's ridiculous. It never ends. Make it stop. So Shams Charania with this tweet on this Tuesday afternoon on this October 29th. The NBA has fined the Philadelphia 76ers $100,000 for public statements around the health status of Joel Embiid. As for the NBA investigation, here was their statement. The NBA today fined Philadelphia $100,000, including President of Basketball Operations Daryl Morey and head coach Nick Nurse, that they were inconsistent with Joel Embiid's health status and in violation of NBA rules, including the league's player participation policy. The league's investigation also confirmed that Embiid has been unable to play in the 76ers regular season games this year due to a left knee condition, and therefore his games missed have not violated the player participation policy. So at first we thought that he was violating the player participation policy. But in reality, and what the NBA found, is that Embiid is actually injured. The Sixers have not been truthful about that, and that's why they're getting fined. Did I mention that this is very confusing, and we're going to try to simplify everything for you? That's what we're hoping to do. But Chip, you and I had the same reaction with this team. They've won a lot in my lifetime, and it's not like they've been the Charlotte Hornets or some of these other awful organizations, but one thing remains consistent. There's always drama, there's always chaos, and because of that, I do believe that plays a role in them not being able to have long-term playoff success.
And that was supposed to be different this year. We came into this offseason, into this season saying, we got this new roster, everything's great, there's no more drama, let's just play basketball. Then Paul George gets hurt, Embiid's missing games, and now here you go, there's all this drama. So, again, just trying to wrap my head around all this and simplify it, the investigation by the NBA was originally because they were holding Embiid out of games, and the league didn't like that Embiid didn't play opening night on national television. Because the Sixers were saying, and what Nick Nurse was saying, is that Embiid didn't suffer a new injury, there was nothing going on with his knee, and it was just part of their load management plan to ensure that he was continually progressing and getting healthy. But the league did their investigation. They found, no, it's fine that you held him out. We're not mad about that. We're mad that you've been saying he's okay when he's really not. And I told Chase, like, this kind of worries me a little bit. Because what this means, at least from my understanding, is that the league did their own individual, medical look into Joel Embiid and with the notes that the Sixers team doctors have and found that he really does have an injury. So now the question becomes, how injured is he really? I don't think we're going to find that out, at least not right now. But how serious is this left knee injury that Embiid is still dealing with that goes all the way back to the playoffs? I mean, we saw him play in the Olympics, right? Yep. And now they're saying he's been ramping up. I just don't get why this team consistently wants to hide things, especially when it comes to injuries. I mean, we've seen this for years. They're never reporting the full extent of these things. And, to us fans, it's just, we want to know, of course you want to keep Embiid healthy, right? That's the main priority here. Get him healthy and make sure he's on the court when it matters the most. But if he's dealing with a serious injury right now, again, we don't know what the extent of it is, but we deserve to know that. We deserve to know what's going on. It's just frustrating to kind of be left in the dark among all this, especially, as fans who love to watch this team play. So I don't know if we're even going to really find out what he's dealing with. Maybe they have to come out now in the next couple of days and say, this is what he's dealing with, this is how long he's going to be out for, and this is the actual injury that he has. Because right now, it's just been, load management and ramping up. There's been no, this is his knee injury. So it's crazy. Of course, we can never escape all this going on with the 76ers. And they're going to continue to play without Paul George and Joel Embiid here. Hopefully they come back soon. But at this point, I don't know what to believe. I don't know what to think when it comes to the injuries on this team.
Yeah, and remember, the meniscus surgery that he got was looked at as kind of an operation where they did the surgery with the hopes that he'd be able to come back quick, as compared to the alternative where he would have been out longer. And obviously against New York, he wasn't right. In the Olympics, I don't think he looked great, but he still played. He didn't undergo another surgery. And now we didn't see him in the preseason, not playing to start the regular season. This is what I fear too, is that he's actually dealing with an injury and he just signed that contract extension. And when you're a big with an injury history on the opposite side of 30, hasn't always trended well for players previously over the course of NBA history. As for changes that need to be made for Philadelphia to get back on track, Nick Nurse even said, we're just trying to find our identity, which for some reason we didn't find that identity until the third game. Philadelphia needs to address 3 areas of concern to win without Paul George and Joel Embiid. Sixers All-Stars Embiid, George, going to be out Wednesday against Detroit. The team said they participated in portions of practice on Tuesday. They'll be reassessed later this week. The upcoming schedule here against Detroit, hello Tobias Harris. Then at home against Memphis on Saturday, on the road against Phoenix, on the road against James Harden and the Los Angeles Clippers, and then on the road against the Lakers. So a West Coast road trip is coming up for the Sixers. Here's where Philadelphia has really struggled. They are last in the NBA in three-point percentage at 27.5%, 28th in field goal percentage at 41.2%. And the three-point struggles have been on display. Tyrese Maxey is under 24%. Kelly Oubre is at 25%. Kyle Lowry, 61.5%. Eric Gordon, 27.3%. Yabusele at 12.5%. And Caleb Martin at 14.3%. So a lot of these players are really ice cold from deep, including Maxey, who, that's hilarious. He's taking nearly 13 threes per game. The Sixers this year, as far as where they're taking these threes from and how they haven't been efficient. 27th in corner three-point attempts, 6th in corner three-point percentage, 12th in non-corner three-point attempts, 30th in non-corner three-point percentage. So in the corner, the efficiency is high, but the attempts are low. Outside of the corner, you see the attempts, but then the percentages are just terrible, dead last in the NBA. So Philadelphia naturally should shoot more corner threes. And it's known as probably one of the easier shots to make from downtown. So the Sixers must find a way to get corner threes up, drive and kick, be ready to shoot, make it a focal point of this offense. It's, of course, tough to score without 2 stars. You're missing about 50 points per game, right? Let's say that Embiid's averaging 30, George is at 20, right? And obviously you can play with those numbers a little bit. It's a lot of production. And the Sixers don't need to be great. They just can't be awful. So your biggest concern with this 76ers team, besides injuries, let's put you to the test. Let's just talk some basketball here. Let me know down in the comments section. Today's 76ers now, by the way, sponsored by our friends at DraftKings. If you really want to support the show, download the DraftKings app. Use our code SixersChat. That helps us greatly because it lets DraftKings know that 76ers now sent you. You bet $5, you get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Here's some more information on how you can get that popping. The NBA is finally back. A new season means new ways to get into the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Who's draining threes from beyond the arc? Who's crashing the boards and grabbing rebounds? Get behind your favorite players and the prop bets that you can make on DraftKings, the home of NBA player props. First time, new DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Every point counts with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code SixersChat. That's code SixersChat for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball. And here are Chip's picks for this fine Tuesday. Pelicans, Golden State. Let's go with the over, 217.5. Minnesota money line against Dallas. Denver money line against Brooklyn. And then the Kings -7 against Utah. One more time, code SixersChat. DraftKings, best sports book in the game. Where Philadelphia struggled. Let's continue to move forward with this. Point number 2. They are last in assists at 17.3 per game. This needs to change as soon as possible. And without Joel Embiid and Paul George, the Sixers need to move the ball more. They need to create easier shots. It can't be Maxey ISO on almost every single possession. And that's really what it's been. It's been a one-man team where it's just Tyrese Maxey out there, and they've become such a one-dimensional team because of that. Should Philadelphia play Reggie Jackson a little bit more? The veteran has played just 3 minutes this year. We know that he has some shake and bake to his game. He can handle the rock. He can play point. He can play off ball. He can create for himself, a little bit for others. He can at least break down the defense, drive and kick to that aforementioned corner 3. I think that he can help you run your offense and get open looks. And then point number 3 here. The Sixers are 28th in opponent field goal percentage at 48.8%. So the defense hasn't been good enough. They're not contesting shots. And they are 29th in fouls. 28.7 free throws per game. And so Philadelphia's not defending well. They are fouling a lot, causing teams to go to the free throw line. They're not creating or dishing out dimes on the offensive end, and they're a bad three-point shooting team. That right there is a recipe for losing a lot of games. It's early. The Sixers are 1-2, but these are early flaws here. The Sixers have really struggled keeping people in front of them. Teams are attacking the rim. They're getting to the line a ton. Sixers don't have that barrier around the rim in Joel Embiid. They don't have that wing defender in Paul George. So you're seeing the ripple effects of that. And this is an area where they need Paul George and Joel Embiid back ASAP. Until then, what can Philadelphia do? Can Nick Nurse go with Ricky Council off the bench? He's athletic. He's a pretty good perimeter defender. In the 3 games so far, he's getting 13 minutes per game. Now, of course, it hasn't all been bad for Philadelphia. There's certainly been some good with the Sixers as well, where Philadelphia has excelled. They are second in free throws made and attempted at 27.3 free throws made on 37 field goal attempts. They're third in offensive rebounds, 17.3. Hello, Andre Drummond. And obviously that was a big concern going up against the New York Knicks last year. And they're a first in opponent turnover percentage. So in ways they've been bad offensively, in ways not bad. In ways they've been bad defensively, in ways not bad. So Chip, a good outline there for how Philadelphia can get back on track and keep their heads above water without Embiid and George.
Yeah, look, obviously it's easy to say, oh, this team's missing 2 of their 3 best players. When they get them back, they'll be all right. But look, as we talked about today, who knows when this team gets Joel Embiid especially and Paul George back. And even when they get them back, I'm sure they're going to be missing more time throughout the year. At some point, yes, you want these guys to be healthy for the playoffs, but you got to get there, right? I don't want this to be another scenario where you're in the play-in like you were last season, then you end up playing, a 1 seed in the Celtics or a 2 seed in the Knicks. I don't want to be in the play-in. I want this team to be, ideally, a top 3, top 2 seed. So they're going to have to find ways to win without their 2 players, star players in Joel Embiid and Paul George. Even Maxey said it the other day. Like, yes, we're light-handed and we don't have those guys, but we can't rely on somebody like Joel Embiid or Paul George every single game. We have to find ways to win without them. And I think they have enough depth, and they have a great coach in Nick Nurse where they can make that happen. It's just they got to do some of these things we said. They got to be able to knock down shots better, honestly. They've gotten some decent looks over these first 3 games, and they just have been ice cold, especially from beyond the arc. It is good to see, I will say, some of these things, such as offensive rebounding, the hustle game for the Sixers, at least playing hard, trying on defense, making opponents turn the ball over. There's been good signs there, and that's why I still think this team can be really, really good once they do get Embiid and Paul George back, because that'll help with some of these offensive issues that they've had with, lack of ball movement, lack of assists. Part of a lack of assists is they just can't make shots. So you're not going to have a ton of assists when you can't make shots, obviously. But again, as bad as it's been and as bad as the vibes are right now around this team, I think that they have the right role players now. They just need to play up to their standards. Caleb Martin's not going to shoot 14% from 3 all year. No. Eric Gordon's not going to shoot, 27% from 3 all year. He had a good game on Sunday after a rough 2 first games. So I think stuff will get better a little bit as this team figures out how to play without those 2 players, but they got to show it, and they can't be losing to bad teams like the Raptors. They certainly cannot lose to the winless Detroit Pistons tomorrow. So a lot of weird vibes going on right now. Not the way I envision this season starting for the Sixers. Hopefully, just 3 games, they get back on track, get some of these guys back, and we can actually get this season started for real.
Yeah, and that Raptors team is bad. I mean, they're giving $150 million to R.J. Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, and Jakob Poeltl, as well as Scotty Barnes. And the Sixers were awful in that game. Good win against the Pacers. Can't lose against Tobias Harris, Crumble Cookie, and the Detroit Pistons. What is one change that you think the Sixers should make? We leave you with that. We know ball. Show us you know ball.